Ginny Robertson, founder and publisher of On Purpose Woman magazine and founder of the On Purpose Woman global community. I'm here with some of the women who contributed in some way to the March-April issue of On Purpose Woman magazine. We have our designer, our cover artist, and some of the writers and advertisers. And this is something new that I'm trying, and I thank all of you for being with me. And like I said, with this experiment today. So wave and tell everybody just let everybody know how happy you are to be here. And you're going to get to meet some of these amazing women who contribute so beautifully to this magazine that is so, so, so important to me. I'm going to start with our designer, Anne Pamfilis. So, Anne, tell us where you're zooming in from. And in addition to designing the magazine, what other work do you do?
Well, my name is Ann Pamfilis. My company is Project Outsource, and I'm in Sparks, Maryland, and I'm a virtual assistant. And so I help people with their businesses and whatever they might need to help make their job easier and let them focus on what they love to do.
Well, and since we were already working together, when the designer who was doing it before decided she needed to move on and do something else, I didn't wasn't thinking about asking you initially because I thought you might not say yes. I was thinking, would Anne say yes to this? Because, I don't know, and I could hardly get it out of my mouth. I'd love to do that. So you have done such an amazing job. And I think anyone who's seen your work and everyone here has seen your work. And I hear all the time, you just have this knack of finding the perfect graphics to go with articles, of just laying everything out so beautifully. So, why did you say yes?
Thank you so much, Jenny. Well, I have a background in art. From my 20s, I had a company called Functional Art. I designed children's rooms and painted furniture. And then in my 30s, 40s, I didn't do anything with art. I kind of just gradually stopped. And then when you said that, I said, oh, that sounds great. I love what Catherine had done. And I really enjoy doing it. It's such a creative outlet. It feels so good to get back into creating and coming up with the design to just best reflect what everybody's trying to tell, the stories that they're trying to tell. I was saying in one of the groups, I love when the articles start rolling in, and I said, "Oh, I can't wait to get my hands on some of these articles and add the artwork to that." So I'm very grateful for the opportunity.
Well, I was going to ask you what you most love about doing it, but you may have answered that already. Is there one particular thing that it does for you?
I'm very into color and design. I wouldn't say I'm an artist, like a fine artist, but I love spatial relationships and color and design and how they work together. I
Mhm.
can feel when colors go together and when they just don't. I would drive by homes, I see people with their houses painted. I'm like, that's not right. Let me call them. So, yeah, I love that part. I really love that. And then just again, creating the stories. I think with Mia, the last two articles she's done, I got to really, she created her own story. It's a story that she's telling. So I'm kind of illustrating for her. And I love that.
Yeah, it's kind of metaphysical fantasy stories that she's
Yes.
writing, and they're so beautiful. If you have not read everything, ladies, if you're here with me today, if you have not read everything in this magazine yet, take some time over the next. I know we're not all, we're busy, but take some time over the next week or two and check it all out. And those of you watching, you can read the magazine on my website, which is opwgc.com/magazine, and that is also in the text of this video. I'm going to go now to our cover artist, Ginny Hawkyard. I'm sorry.
That's
Ginny, I
okay.
met you through Laura DeFranco of Brave Healer Productions because you designed a few of her book covers. And I asked Laura for an introduction, and Laura's so great about helping people come together. And then we had a Zoom meeting together. And tell us where you're zooming in from, a little bit about your work, and then we'll talk about the cover.
I am zooming in from Wales. So the sun is setting over here, rising for you guys. And yeah, I'm a freelance artist and illustrator, designer, work from home. And I have probably the thing that really got me going in this world was I completed 4 Oracle decks for Hay House and Kyle Gray. And those went all over the world and sort of introduced me to a wonderful world of fellow spiritual adventurers, I would call them. So I work with people intuitively creating paintings and design work for them, as well as doing a lot of my own personal artwork as well, which many of the pieces you chose for well, certainly for the cover, that was a personal artwork, and then for the article as well. You selected a few different ones in there. So yeah, I'm very lucky I get to do draw pictures all day.
Yeah, really. You know, when we chatted on Zoom about your art, I told you that I always like to show some aspect of the feminine as the cover. And you said, I don't really do that many aspects of the feminine, but we found a great one. I think I've gotten so many compliments on that cover. But I think it's interesting that you talked about how you are portraying the masculine in a different way. Would you say a few words about that?
Yeah, so I suppose before I really started to delve into spiritual art, I had an interest and a background in fantasy art. And so I was um, reading fantastical stuff, there's a great concept art magazine that I was subscribed to. And it was all I was seeing as an artist was representations of the female, sort of usually naked and very vulnerable. And the male was always very, very aggressive and covered in armor and huge weapons. And I was just kind of sick of seeing it, to be honest with you. And I was like, where's the sensitive masculine? Where's the emotional masculine? Um, where's the non-warmongering side of the masculine? So that's kind of what got me into drawing and painting angels in a much more subtle and emotive way. And that's what took me on this path, being an Oracle deck artist and going into intuitive work. So I feel like I don't tend to do work where I feel like there's always already plenty to be seen in an area. So there's plenty of paintings of women, and so I felt like I needed to work in a space where there wasn't things being seen. But the piece that you could chose for the cover was very, very special because it was the first time that I felt like I'd really connected in with the divine feminine energy. And it was probably one of the most powerful connections that I've ever had. So, yeah, very special.
Does that have a name, the piece?
The name is Birthright. Yeah.
Okay. And you have to look close to see she could be naked, she could be covered in gauzy things, but she's certainly damn powerful looking, very powerful looking, and I love it so much. Thank you for sharing your work with us and your talent, and I hope you won't be a stranger to the community and the magazine. It's really
Yeah.
nice to connect with you. Thank
Thank you
you
so much. Thanks for the
for
opportunity.
Jenny and her work. Yes, yes. We have five of our contributing writers here with us today, and I'm going to do a couple of the writers, and I'm going to go to two of our advertisers. Let's see. I'm going to start with you, Sophia, because you've written so much for the magazine over the years, and tell us a bit about you and your work first, where you're zooming in from, and about you and your work.
Sure. So I'm zooming in from Wisconsin. I used to live in Maryland, but I moved out here recently. And I'm sorry, what was the other part of the question?
What do you do out there in the world when you're not writing articles for On
Yeah,
Purpose on Magazine? Yeah.
yeah. Well, I like to help other people to write as well, whether it's for their book or their business, from getting the ideas flowing to editing them up to a shine, and then also creating systems so it's a lot easier to do it and to focus on what's really truly important and what you're trying to accomplish in this world.
Mhm. Thank you. Why do you keep saying yes to writing for On Purpose on Magazine?
Well, I had such a good experience being in the live community when I lived in Maryland, and that was about 10 years ago. It was one of the first things I did when I started my business, so it's definitely always going to have a special place in my heart. This one
Mhm.
community that you've made, and you've been such a great supportive person in my life. So I just like plugging. It's a great way for me to plug into the community, even though I don't live right next to you anymore. But it's just a lot of really great people get attracted to this community too. It's always really fun.
Thank you for that. I think when you showed up at that first meeting, you were a massage therapist, I think.
I
Right?
was.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, tell us about your article, the title, and and why really the focus. Why should somebody read it? Why would somebody want to read it? What are they going to get from it?
Yeah, this article was on making faster progress without burnout. That's so important because I think that for me, I'm a little speed demon. So when I was out the gate with my business, I wanted to make it happen really fast. Same thing with books. I've tried to write them really fast. And there's more to this than just checking things off of a list because you really need to get to the heart of what's going to be effective. You could do 20 things, but maybe your bank account's still going to look the same afterwards. So as a business owner, I've really learned to work smarter, not harder, and to be in this for the long term because I've seen many people drop out of this race to have a business over the years. Many people just get tired and burn out. And I don't want that for anybody. If you're here to do something, I want to see you do it, even if it takes 10 years, So that's what I hope people get out of it.
Yeah. Thank you, Sophia. Let's give it up for Sophia and her work. Sophia's she's younger than some of us in this room right now, and has so much brilliance and so much wisdom. And go back and check the archives for some of her other articles because she's always sharing some way to do something differently. And I really love that about your work. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Our next writer is new to us. She started a series in the last issue of On Purpose Woman magazine. And Joni, I meant to ask you again how to say your last name. It's Diargo?
Yeah, Diargo, you got it.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
It sounds just like it looks. So, Joni, first of all, what do you do out there in the world?
I'm an intuitive soul coach and I live in northern Michigan, right outside of Traverse City. So I'm a spiritual mentor, so I help women either one-on-one or in group settings, all via Zoom. Yeah.
Okay. And what's the series that you're writing? It's a series of 3 articles, correct?
Yeah, and so it's the series is called The Way of the Wise Woman, and the second article is called Let Your Wise Woman Take the Lead During This Global Paradigm Shift. And so the wise woman within is wiser. We all have a wise woman within. She's wiser than any spiritual teacher, healer, or ascended master. And the times are really ripe right now to merge with her. We have this perceived separation and there really isn't. And so she is us vibrating at a different frequency and is so ready to merge and ideally take the lead all the time.
Thank you for that. Now, why would somebody want to read that article?
Oh, because great question. Because it will give them really concrete and tangible ideas of when they do let their wise woman take the lead, how life can flow with so much more ease and grace.
Mhm.
I know that for me, part of my history has been do, and oh, I got to do this. And only I try harder, things will then start to manifest and unfold. And there really is an easier and better way for all of us that just helps things to manifest, those things that are near and dear to our life and our desires, helps them to manifest in a much easier, more graceful way.
Yeah. Thank you for that. And your article can kind of dovetail a bit with Sophia's article because she's going into the practical steps and you talk about the why you want to, and how much better life can be if we do embrace some of those things. Let's give it up for Joni.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you. Let's mix it up and talk with 2 of our advertisers. Liz Lerner, you have been a supporter of On Purpose One magazine for a number of years. Tell us what you're advertising. Well, tell us first about you. Tell us about you and your work.
So I am currently zooming in from New York City. I was a Marylander for decades. My work is, I've been a clinician for a very long time, and I'm a coach that works with the individual and business owners, really from the physical to the spiritual. So understanding how to connect with the central core self, how to really understand true purpose and live that purpose and have a vision so that people can operate from that vision without a lot of emotional stuff getting in the way.
And what are you advertising in the magazine?
Right now, I'm advertising my online coaching and sometimes individual personal coaching in person, and my courses. So Divorce Will and Thrive, connected to my new book, Divorce Will and Thrive, Your Guide to Being Your Best Self Under the Worst Circumstances, and also my Lightened Communication Through Luminous Living course.
And we also have your book. One of the advantages of advertising is if you have written a book, if you have a podcast, talk show, anything like that, we put that in as a separate thing for you for no additional cost. So you can find Liz's book there on our Advertisers book page, and then her ad is in the magazine as well. So Liz, thank you so much for being a supporter of the magazine. Let's give it
Thank
up
you.
for
I love
Liz.
supporting the magazine because it supports so many women in so many ways. It's really
Thank you.
wonderful.
Let's see. Suzie Jeffries is a newish advertiser. Was this your second issue, I believe? Or first, second?
First.
Yes.
Well,
First.
no,
Okay.
this is the second.
Okay.
Right?
I thought so. Yeah. Anne knows. Anne's shaking her head. She looks at that a lot more than I do. So, Suzie, tell us about you and your work.
So, my work, I am a health and fitness coach. My background is exercise science. I've worked in the clinical and non-clinical settings for 30 years, a little over 30 years. And I have transitioned from being in person and working in the clinical setting to an online business, coaching women, helping them to reclaim their health, reduce the risk for heart disease without crazy restrictive diets or hours in the gym. Yeah. So
I hear a sigh of yes. Everybody's going, yes, we need that. We need that. And are you advertising something specific in the magazine or general business?
general business.
Okay.
Yeah. For my first go arounds.
Okay, okay. And you so get in touch with Suzie. We're going to have all of these links for their work as soon as I get this edited after we get off this call today. Check out Suzie and see what she has out there that might work for you, because no matter where you are, you can get online, and she'll be speaking at our Wednesday evening on Purpose Women Global Community Connections After Hours meeting from 7 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time on how do we get more movement into our lives without spending crazy hours in the gym. And I'm really looking forward to that. So Suzie, thank you so much for your support of On Purpose Woman magazine. And I forgot to ask, but you were in Maryland. Okay, yeah. Okay, let's go back to our writers. Let's see. Let's go with Shelley O'Connell, who has written before, and then it's been kind of a few years, and we were on some Zoom thing together, and I said, Shelley, I would love to hear from you again, because Shelley has a business. You probably have never met anybody who does what Shelley does. So Shelley, tell us where you're zooming in from and what it is you do out there in the world.
I'm from Vacaville, California right now, and I am a flirting coach for women, and also have written a book called Finding Your Flirt. It gives you all the ins and outs of flirting. And I do this because my background was in crisis intervention. I've been an advocate for women and children a long time. But I feel like women have been really conditioned by the patriarchy to believe a lot of lies. And one of them is about flirting. And it really is a form of play. And I want women to return to that because it opens up their full essence, and just musical, magical things happen in their life then.
Well, I've talked with you a lot over the years, and you also talk about how, flirting, you can also flirt with somebody you're in a relationship with, right? Because you've been married for a really long
girl,
time.
yes. If you are in a relationship and not flirting, why? That is the magic that keeps it fresh. If your partner's feeling a little grumpy, or they're like on a mission, you can change that really fast to fun.
Maybe a little flirting would help with the divorce rate out there. Hey, Liz. Yeah, yeah. Well, Shelley, tell us about this article, and why would someone want to read it?
It's actually a series. So the first one is called Change Your Flirting Assumptions. We all walk around with a bunch of assumptions. We have many of those because we've been heavily conditioned around flirting. And so it helps you to look at, first off, you want to read it because it helps you to understand, oh yes, I need to question my assumptions. If we don't question our assumptions, we cannot have new experiences. We just go through life the same way all the time. And so it then I'll tell you some things that it's not and some things that it is and why it benefits you. And
Thank-
please, I want you to have more fun and enjoy life more. So read it.
There's a quotable quote you just said, if we don't change our assumptions, we can't have new experiences. Yes, thank you for that so much. Let's give it up for Shelley.
Thank you, Jenny.
I'm going to go now to Jamie Cole Cerna, who just submitted for this issue her very first article for On Purpose Woman magazine. And it came because I saw a Facebook post she did. You never know where I'm going to be looking, y'all. If you do blog posts, if I'm on your email list and you send blogs, I may look at it and go, ooh, that would make a great article, and I'll get in touch with you. Or I might see a Facebook post. I saw Jamie's Facebook post and asked her if I could use it, and she turned it more into an article, added some stuff to it. But Jamie, before we talk about that, where are you zooming in from, and tell us about your work out there?
Sure. I am from Columbia, Maryland, so I get the chance to come to the live meetings every once in a while. And I'm a life coach, and I work to guide women back into what I call their internal guidance system. I believe many of us as children learn to really value that external world, the external guidance system. And as we grow up, we start to really validate our successes and failures with that world. And we have a whole internal guidance thing available to us. It's so important to tap back in, turn on that power, and then show up as us.
Thank you. It sure is. And somebody watching this, or even those of you who are here today, are going, wow, she's a coach and she's a coach and she's a coach. And I'm like, Oprah, you get a coach and you get a coach and you get a coach. They're all unique women who bring their own spin, their own worth, their own, all of this. So everyone on this call today is a coach of some sort, right? Really, you are. You just might not be calling yourselves that. So think about that if you're looking for someone that you want to support you in whatever you have going on in your life. And check out these women, because they are offering some really, and I can vouch for them. They're good people. They're good women, and I'm glad that you're in my circle. So Jamie, tell us about your article and why would someone want to read it?
Sure. I actually submitted the article because of the good women I've, come to read in this magazine. And so my article is called Not Everything is for Us, and that's okay. And it was inspired by the most recent Super Bowl halftime show, where there was just a whole bunch of generations in one room grumbling or celebrating what they had just seen. And my husband and I, in our early 40s, have just been starting to realize that really not everything in this world is built for us. Some things are for younger people, some are for older people, and we can be okay with that without judging it or ourselves or the people that do feel like it's for them, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Certainly, I think that's a really interesting way to just go and to be accepting of what's out there. I'm not a judge of what good music is. I'm a judge of the music I like and what I think is great. And so not everything, and it's kind of arrogant to think everything out there is made for us, isn't it? It should speak to me, y'all. It should always speak to me. Not true. And that's just another way of closing off our world, I think, like what Shelley was talking about. We have all these assumptions, and then it closes off our world and has us not look at new experiences. Let's give it up for Jamie. Thank you. And let's see, Lori, I think you're the last one. I saved you to last because you are both a writer and an advertiser. So let's talk about the writing first. And you're doing I think you're doing a series. Are you doing another series? Yes, yes. You've done a number of series for us. So tell us about where you're zooming in from and a little bit about you.
Okay, I'm Lori Piper, founder of Journey to Inner Joy, and I call myself an architect of joy because I guide women to remove the shackles of past conditioning so they can architect their own joy. And I'm coming from Cincinnati, Ohio, where it's unusually sunny this winter.
Okay. And tell us about your article and why should someone read it? Or tell us about the series first.
Yeah, so the series is called Empowered and Unapologetic, Reclaiming Your Joy. And what I do, and this is what I do in my coaching programs and other programs, there are 7 aspects of the wheel of life, and there are 6 aspects of the pillars of well-being. And when we combine those, let me just step back. We tend to feel like in order to be happy or make a change, we have to change everything. And we get so overwhelmed trying to change everything, we just make things worse. So the goal of the articles is to allow you, to give you permission to choose what area of your life do you want to make small changes immediately. And you'd be amazed how those small changes in one area of your life really melds into other aspects of your life.
And you've been an advertiser off and on for a while now. So tell us what you're advertising in the magazine.
So I'm advertising an 8-week program that I have called Empowered and Unapologetic. And it is a transformational journey for overwhelmed women. And it uses the wisdom in the articles, but we go much deeper. And of course, we have a lot of experiential activities going on. And you'll get a little bit of homework too, because you can't do it just in the program itself. You have to bring it into your life, into your world. And it's easy to do. I had a husband of one of my clients say, Lori, I don't know what you did, but my wife is so much happier. So you want to be happier? You want your family to be happier? Yeah, let's chat.
Great. Thank you, Lori. Let's give it up for Lori. Really appreciate your work and your support of the magazine. And, before I wrap up here, what just hit me is I have an article in the magazine and I can't even tell you the title of it right now. Anne, can you pull that up for me real quick? I hadn't planned on talking about it because I forgot I did it. I did an article in the last issue of the magazine, the January, February issue, and it's titled, I'm Not a Writer. And it came out of an experience I had in one of Laura DeFranco's writing circles. And I determined through that experience that, hell yeah, I'm a writer because I write. And I made a commitment there that I was going to have an article in every issue of On Purpose Woman magazine until I didn't. And because I rarely have an article, which is kind of weird, isn't it? I have a whole platform that I can put something in every issue, and I don't. So, Anne, what is the title of this article? Because it's an odd title.
Yes, Emptiness, the Wonder of Interbeing.
Yes, Emptiness, the Wonder of Interbeing. This came out of a talk that I was asked to do for the Baltimore Center for Spiritual Living. And they have an international theme every month. The theme was on radical interconnectedness or radical connectivity, something like that. And then this theme, they wanted me to talk about this because they want everybody doing the same thing on Sundays. And I looked at it and said, I don't even know what interbeing is. So I looked it up and realized it was from Thich Nhat Hanh. He came up with this idea. And it's deeper than we're just all connected. You know how it's easy to just know that, oh, we're all one, we're all connected. It becomes a catchphrase. It's really easy to say. I really believe it on a very deep level. But to be quite frank, I haven't been feeling so connected to everybody recently in the last few months or so. And I'm feeling division. I'm feeling heartbreak. I'm feeling concern. And I was writing this article. I was talking about all the good stuff, not writing the article, I'm sorry, writing the talk. And at one point I was about ready to wrap it up. And I said to myself, this feels so disingenuous. It's like I'm writing about rainbows and unicorns and not what's really going on in people's lives right now. So I added a section and I talked about, you'll have to read this all because I, haven't read enough for me to tell you, and this is not the work that I do in the world. So I'm not real fluent in it yet. But really, I talk about things that we can do for ourselves because as you all know, all the work has to start within. And I still believe, and it was one of the first spiritual principles I ever heard probably 40 some years ago, is that when we're having an issue with someone else, there's a great possibility it's reflecting something back to us about ourselves. And I needed to be reminded of that. I needed to be reminded of a number of things that I wrote about. So I encourage you to read the article. Tell me what you think. I had literary license, so it's kind of long, but I couldn't shorten it because I took a talk and created it. And it was like, I can't do a series because you need to hear everything right here. So check that out. And thank you for indulging me on that. I appreciate it. And I want to thank you. Thank you. I want to thank those of you with us today for your gifts, for your brilliance, your creativity, your talent, and your love and your support of the community and the magazine. And help me help you get this word out there. The On Purpose Women Global community, what I've been about for 25 years, is shining a light on women, helping people see your brilliance, helping you be seen and heard, helping you practice. If you're a little, leery about putting your voice out into the world, showing up in safe places, you can practice doing that. So let's just help each other. We've made some great connections here today. And I want to let those watching, we're going to do this for every issue. We'll have different people every time, and some of the same people will come back, I hope. And I want to ask you to go check out the magazine. Again, that link is in the text of this video, but it's opwgc.com/magazine. And if you're interested in advertising, our advertising rates start at $40 an issue, and that is every other month. So that is a deal you're not going to find anywhere. And if you're interested in submitting an article or being our cover artist, you can go on the website and see how to get in touch with me, or you can just email me directly at jennyrobertsonopw@gmail.com. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Let's tell everybody goodbye, y'all.